Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ashy Knuckles back up in this thing. About to do a real quick video since I'm out and about. Just got off work, you know what I'm saying? It's hot down here in the H, boy. I'm talking about hot. And have the nerve to have a little breeze coming through like the breeze doing any damn thing. But yeah, bro. Anyway, I want to do this quick breakdown of a fight this weekend. Uh, Sweet Hands, Caleb Plant versus the undefeated Mike Lee. So Mike Lee will be going for his first title shot at 168 pounds. He is the former top-ranked boxing experiment. What's up, fam? What's up, Brian David? Experiment. Bob Arum and them were pushing Mike Lee initially, taking him through the ranks, matching him up with the Bum of the Month Club. He's a former college linebacker for Notre Dame, turned boxer. In fact, he was the one guy who convinced another linebacker, collegiate linebacker, I think he played for Michigan, Seth Mitchell, who was once a heavyweight hopeful. Mike Lee is the one who convinced him that he had what it take to do it in the professional ranks. And for a while, Seth Mitchell was gaining a whole lot of fame based on obviously his physique and his punching power. But over time, it was revealed to him that bodybuilding and football and boxing are three separate sports and should be respected as such. But Mike Lee continued on his undefeated streak, and at 175 pounds primarily. And over time, he would contract a rare disease having to do with his spinal cord, which knocked him off for about 2 years, put him on the shelf. I forget, I don't know the medical name for that particular disease, but you could do a search on it and it'll tell you what it is. But it has to do with the spinal cord. It's supposed to be really painful, and I guess he overcame. So whenever you hear him talking about he's not supposed to be here, doctor said he would never fight again, that's what he talking about. But when you watch any of his fights, he is very aggressive. He comes forward, but he's not a plotter. I mean, he does have some skill. He moves his hands. He goes up and down when he attacks like a professional. He leaves behind a jab. He tries to showboat in there sometimes when he feels that his opponent just definitely shouldn't be in the ring with him. I guess he feels that he's on some type of level. But like I told you guys before, in the past and in the present, that when you go to the boxing gym, even the bums in the gym think they got something. So it's no coincidence that Mike Lee actually believes in himself and thinks, you know, he can compete amongst the top in the division and the top in boxing. And we're going to find out this weekend because he's going up against newly crowned IBF super middleweight champion Caleb Plant from Cashville, Tennessee, for the hip hop boys out there, or for the dope boys out there too. But he'll be going up against Caleb Plant. These are two white guys, two white fighters, two white American fighters, and that are starkly that are just really different from each other. One has a collegiate degree, who's into finance. He says when he's bored, he watches CNBC and finance and look at stocks and read books. You know, most fighters don't really tend to do that in their spare time. But Caleb Plant came up from the trenches, you know. Him and his father, they've been at this for a long time. You know, Caleb Plant's mother was a clucker. For the dope boys, they know what that means. But for you off-brands, she was a dope fiend. You know, she had a lot of trouble in the streets. She had a lot of bad habits. And you ask Caleb Plant, you know, she had demons. But when you read up on his story, you know, you really find out the truth behind it all. I don't know if he has revealed that part of it, but that's some of the demons she was dealing with. But he said she's a very nice lady. But ever since he was a kid, he's been boxing. At first, he was into kickboxing. I think he won a couple of championships in the kickboxing. Then he transferred over to the sport of boxing, you know, with using just your hands and your mind in the amateur system. And I don't know what exactly his amateur record was, but I do know that in 2011 he was a national Golden Glove champion at light heavyweight, and he would eventually go to the Olympics as an alternate in amateur boxing. So he do have the pedigree. He has the amateur pedigree. And, you know, ever since he's been a professional, I mean, he's been doing what he has to do, getting rid of the guys that are placed in front of him. And when you look at the way he fights, you can tell that he's of the right stock. You know what I'm saying? He got deceivingly fast hands. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say deceiving because a lot of people seem to think that you put adjectives in front of their attributes, and you know, when you're talking about specific fighters. So I'm gonna say he has fast hands to appease you motherfuckers. He got fast hands. He got a pretty decent punch. He can take a good punch. He moves around the ring very well. He protects himself very well. I mean, he has a pretty good defense. And when he attacks up and down like a true professional. And he can counter to the body and to the head. In fact, I think his best punch is that counter left hook on the inside. It's mean, it's sharp, and it'll put you on your ass. So, prime example, in his title winning fight against Uzcategui, who is a solid fighter, who is a decent puncher, and who was a former champion. In fact, Caleb Plant did to Uzcategui what one of the most talented fighters to come out of amateurs in the last decade should have did, and Andre Dirrell. He went in there, he outboxed him, he outfought him. You know, he outpointed him. He did everything he needed to do to the champion. He fought a champion, and he got the W, and I'll give him kudos to that. He even put him on his ass twice. Shout out to Bottom McCallie. What's up, fam? And he did what he had to do to get the victory. You know what I'm saying? He showboated a little bit in there, but he didn't get careless. He knew what he was up against. He knew the guy he was fighting came to upset the apple cart. Uzcategui, I believe he was making either the first or the second defense of his world title, and he didn't come to lose. Y'all know he tough. You know, he got basically a raw deal in the first fight with Dirrell for the interim world title. He would lose by disqualification, but he did get a rematch, and you know, he did what he was supposed to do, and won the title. And over time, he was given full distinction as the IBF super middleweight champion, because that's what happens when you have an interim title and you don't get an opportunity to face the real champion of the division, or the super champion, or however the IBF does it in their organization. But he was champion, and now Caleb Plant, undefeated, 18-0, he is champion. So when you look at the press conferences and he's talking about how him and Mike Lee are not of the same cloth, you see what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this guy actually put in the work for boxing. He said, if it ain't for boxing, I don't know where I'd be, because it's only boxing for me. And that's hunger, man. They usually hear that from guys coming out the hood. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna move these hands gonna make everything happen for me. I'm putting all my eggs in this basket. And that's what Caleb Plant remind me of, even though I don't know where exactly in Nashville he's from. But all I know is he came up through the amateur system. In the amateur system, you're not in charge of who you fight. You know, you know who you fighting when you get there. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be on weight, gotta stay on weight. You know, and you see all the styles. So it's not like he can duck and avoid guys like you can do in a professional game. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, he won the world title. He'll be making his first defense against Mike Lee. Mike Lee has never faced anyone on the likes of Caleb Plant. No one he has faced can move like Plant, can put his punches together like Plant, who's not in awe of him and bagging away from him, who can counter like Caleb Plant. You know what I'm saying? In fact, Mike Lee has never faced anybody on the same level as Uzcategui. You know what I'm saying? And Mike Lee is not on Uzcategui's level. So I expect Caleb Plant to put on a show if he don't lose his head. If he not going there trying to prove too much and lose his head, I think he should go out there, use his natural ability, his natural skills, and show him there's just levels between us. And that's what I think gonna happen. This is Mike Lee's first shot at a title, and not only that, this is his first fight at 168 pounds, and he hasn't been in the ring in over a year. And I think all of that, everything that I've mentioned in this video, is gonna come to the forefront on the night of the fight, which is this weekend. And I think we may be even in store for a nice, beautiful knockout, depending on how tough Mike Lee is against the better competition in boxing, the better competition in the division. And a good win like this can set up bigger fights for Caleb Plant. Maybe a fight against Benavidez. Maybe a fight against Dirrell's brother, Anthony Dirrell, the dog, who is a dog in the ring. But skill for skill, I actually think Caleb Plant got better skills than Anthony Dirrell. I just think Dirrell hit harder. Dirrell hit hard, and he take a good punch. And he knows some about adversity too, battling cancer and beating cancer. You know, him and Danny Jacobs. And Caleb Plant is of the same cloth, battling through the amateurs, growing up struggling. He lost his daughter to a rare disease when she was 1 year old, and his mama just got killed by police earlier this year, after he, you know, a couple of months after he won his world title. So this dude, I mean, he ain't been given nothing easily. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no silver spoons nowhere around him. You know, he worked for it, and that's why he usually have a good demeanor. A steady, solid, and serious demeanor all the time. He not in for the making jokes and laughing and kiki and ha-ha. You ask him a question, he gonna answer it. And one thing about Caleb Plant that I like, and is probably rarely mentioned, is that he's well received amongst the boxing community. All the fighters, like, you know, they respect him and they like him. And you know, if you've been around fighters, you know, a lot of fighters be hating on each other, man. That's just point blank period. You know, if they don't say it on tape, they'll damn sure say it in person. You know, a lot of fighters be hating on each other, but you don't really see many people hating on Caleb Plant. He's well received, man. He's well liked, and I like him. I'm actually quite impressed with it, with his skill set. You know, the way he evades punches, the way he sets his shots up, the way he can counter, and he's not afraid to go to that body. I mean, he's gonna pick whatever opening that's available to him, like a true professional. And like I said before, his best punch is that counter left hook on the inside. It's nasty. It's nasty. I could definitely see Mike Lee getting hit with that. Mike Lee, one thing I don't like about his game, because he put his punches together well too. I'm not going to take that away from him. And he's not the biggest puncher, at least at light heavyweight, but he's not going to be fighting at light heavyweight. But sometimes he leaves his chin up in the air, man. As of yet, no one has really checked that chin. But that chin gonna get checked this weekend, and we're gonna see what it's all about. And if he can actually campaign at a lower weight, being that this is his first fight at this weight and he hadn't fought in a year, you put all three of those major intangibles together: the lack of the amateur experience. In fact, Mike Lee had a little amateur experience, but it didn't last long. You know, he didn't. I don't even think he ever competed in the open class. I mean, he was like a beginner, you know, he was like a beginner in the amateurs, novice, sub-novice, you know what I'm saying? So he was not being put in with national champions, state champions, you know what I'm saying? Silver gloves, golden. I mean, he wasn't in all of that. He didn't win none of the major awards. So you can't really say he got amateur experience. So those little 20 fights that he got is the only experience he got pretty much in the whole sport of boxing in his lifetime. And it'll be revealed to him. Like I said before, Caleb Plant is the real deal. You know, he has the amateur pedigree. He was a national champion at light heavyweight. He was an Olympic alternate, undefeated as a professional, world champion. He knocked off a champion. He beat a live guy in his division. He's well received with his boxing community. The only way that's gonna happen is you sparring tough guys and you holding your own, and you're a cool dude. That's the only way that's gonna happen. You must be somewhat of the same ilk as those guys who are around you. And even Andre give him props. You know, Andre don't give nobody no props. Everybody is food to him. You know what I'm saying? So I look forward to this fight, man. I definitely see Caleb Plant doing what he got to do, whether it's a knockout or a unanimous decision. I think he's gonna showcase a lot of the skills that he has, and he won't be going up against upper echelon type of guy. So this should be a showcase fight for him, and we'll see if he shows out on television or not. It'll be on Fox. It'll be this weekend. I look forward to it, and we'll see what happens on that note. Let me read some of these comments before I go. Shout out P Money. Bonton South D-Town, Dallas, what's happening? Alright, man. I'm about to go ahead and bring this thing to an end, man. Hit that like button on your way out. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think, man. You think Mike Lee got a shot? He is the bigger guy. I mean, he ain't just a complete powder puff. I mean, he has been hit before, He's a pretty tough guy. He's just rather inexperienced, And like I said, he was the failed experiment of Top Rank Boxing. Top Rank had him first. I think they dropped him, or his contract expired when he got sick. I don't really know. I know he was being trained by Ronnie Shields for a while. I don't know who's training him now. Maybe Shields is training him. I think he out there in Vegas. I don't even know where this fight taking place. I just know it's this week. Yeah, it's in Vegas. And Ronnie Shields, he out there in Vegas too. So, maybe he'll be training Mike Lee. But the task is very hard. I'll tell you that much. And if Mike Lee can secure this championship, boy, that'll do a whole lot for his career. It won't seem like he's just been given shit like the Subway contract. He was on Subway commercials, and he wasn't even a live dude. He hadn't even proven he's a live dude. When you come in and you're giving stuff like that, golden tickets and stuff like that to endorsements, and you ain't proved your worth yet, you food. Everybody want a piece of you. And that's why I went on Trill Boxing Talk when Black Fight Fan brought out that Caleb Plant said that he's a jungle lion and Mike Lee is a zoo lion. You can see the analogy now when you go through the history and see what they came through and how they got to where they are right now. He looking at Mike Lee, and he just looking right through him. He not even looking at him. He looking right through him, man. Looking right through his soul. Don't know if he see any substance there, but he gonna find out this weekend. It's gonna get revealed. The ring gonna sort them facts out. And may the best man win on that note, man. It's your boy Ashy Knuckles. I'm out this thing, man. Y'all be easy, man. Ticket TV up in this bitch. What's up, famo? I'm out this motherfucker. Y'all be easy, man.